Well, hello, 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 everybody. Whenever is it that you are listening, either live or later. Anyway, today we are going to be talking the same topic as usual, always bringing you different people to be able to talk to single moms because single mom is a challenging and blessing at the same time. Challenge and blessing. I was a single mom twice, so I know. Okay, I know. So you can tell me stories about single mom, but we are here to tell you stories about single mom by different single mom so that you can become a better mom, not a better single mom, because eventually everybody want to get married at some point or have a partner or all that kind of stuff, right? You don't have to, but we like to. We like to have that somebody to talk to us, sweet talk to us and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, I am going to have Alicia, which in Spanish we say Alicia, and that's the reason why I keep getting stuck. So at any point I call her Alicia, her name is Alicia, and it's Johnson, just like I am Sandra Graves. And if you are interested in telling your story, please connect with us to info@singlemom.today. Again, send me an email to info@singlemom.today. You can also follow us on Instagram. And that's really it. Just come tell your story and help other women to be better moms. And do not get stuck in this foolishness about it's so horrible to be a mom, because it's not. I was blessed. And that's the reason why I'm sharing this story. So with that said, I want to again introduce you to Alicia Johnson, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about who she is and really why should we listen to her. So go ahead, Alicia.
Thank you so much, Sandra. As you're saying, my name is Alicia Johnson, and I hear Alicia all the time, so I don't get offended if that does come up. So, but I have been a single mom for little over 15 years now. I have two girls, 19 and almost 22. And because of all of that life experience, I now coach single moms, because when I was going through that early points of being a single mom, I didn't have that. And so I want to be that for the single moms who are going through that now.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more. The title today, right, is Withhold Guilt. So why just the word guilt itself? Why come up with the word guilt? What happened with single moms and guilt?
Guilt is a thing that we all deal with. So a lot of what I talk about really can pertain to a lot of other areas of in our lives. What I talk about will be more specific with single moms, but it can relate to so many other things, especially in society right now. I think more than ever, because there's so many societal norms that we feel like we are supposed to fit into. So if we find something that doesn't fit into that, then we get overwhelmed with this guilt because I'm supposed to be doing this or be that, but you want to be something else or do something else. Yeah. But society says don't do that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that part, especially when I was a single mom, because people wanted to make me feel uncomfortable about being a single mom. Or anywhere I went somewhere, I'm like, I'm a single mom. Just to tick them up, just to shut them up. I would just say it, and they're like, oh, you're a single mom? I'm like, yes. And I have a lot of freedom to do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is no guilt here. Okay, so tell us more about that. What is it that you wanted to talk to us about today?
So the main topic, because I could talk forever, so I had to pick something that we can focus on.
We all can, especially me.
Yeah. So focusing on prioritizing yourself as a mom, particularly as a single mom, without that guilt saying, don't do that. Because
why would you feel guilty for prioritizing for yourself?
Because society says you need to put your kids first always. And moms in particular have this innate caregiver nature. And so it's taking care of other people. And then we get put on the back burner because we feel like we're supposed to take care of everybody. And then if we have time, we can take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But it should be the other way around.
So give us a little more example about that in your own life, or what have you learned? Why is it that you're saying that now? Is that something that you did not do before?
That is definitely something I did not do before. I actually recently shared a picture in my Instagram stories of all of these supplements that I currently take, because for so many years, I was not prioritizing myself physically or mentally. And like a lot of times as single moms, we end up with multiple jobs and trying to like financially provide for our kids. And so you're always doing. And the toll that took on my health, like I've been working on my health for a good 5 years, but only really this last year has it made a substantial impact where I'm seeing, okay, this is how I should feel. We get so focused on, again, taking care of other people, we don't realize that we are actually not doing as well physically or mentally as we should. And that slowly creeps up into all kinds of things: anxiety, depression, emotional eating, other like addictions are a big thing that come up because you're trying to cope with everything else.
Yeah.
And so that becomes your coping mechanism. And
yeah, but the saying it sounds easy. How do you actually do it? So you did it, you learned to do it while you was a single mom, or after you're not a single mom? I mean, you're still single mom, right?
Yeah, I am still.
So when is it that you start doing it? What kind of trigger it and say, okay, I need to take care of myself?
So it started, it's probably been 10 years now, but I was watching my kids, like they were younger now, like they're older, and something just finally triggered in my head. Like, I want to be around for my kids later. I want to be present in their life. But if I'm continuing on the path that I am, I may not be there.
That's right.
I may not. And like, I'm going to start getting emotional right now, because
that's okay. Bring it on, baby. Bring it. I'm as emotional as you. So come on.
And because like their dad has never been a good parent in their life. And so really like the bulk of everything was on me. And like, if something happens to me, then that, by default means their dad's going to take care of them, and they don't want that. I don't want that. So I need to do something for me.
Yes.
So that I can be there for them. And so, I mean, it started back then as a lot of just small physical things, taking walks, listening like to music while I was walking, and then, trying to incorporate eating better. And that over time snowballed into like working on my mental health and my emotional health and all of the personal development that I've done, especially over the last 5 years.
Yeah. And I agree with you, because I used to coach a lot of people as well, mostly single moms. And one of the single moms that I actually talked to, she was so sick, and her children were so disrespectful, so entitled, because she created the monsters. Okay. And now that she created the monsters, she was feeling bad because they don't love me. They don't show me appreciation. They don't show me this. And she was just on a tantrum. And it all came back to that's the way she raised them. So they did not care about her because she didn't care about her. Mm-hmm. That was really, so you can't be mad at them if you were the one who raised them that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, another part of this. When I was growing up, my dad said all of the time, do as I say, not as I do. I hated that growing up. I hated it. And I didn't listen to it. And as kids, we don't listen to it. And by not taking care of yourself, but saying, hey, you need to eat your vegetables, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, saying, oh, you need to not eat all that candy because that's not good for you. But yet, you know, you're
I
not
eat chocolate all the time.
Yeah. And and this is where I've had to work on my own self, because I realized a lot of that stuff later in their life. And, you know, they're older, they're working on some of that stuff that, because I wasn't taking care of myself, it's, you know, spilled over into them. And so, you know, they're teenagers, adults, and having to start working on that stuff, where if I had started sooner, they might not be where they're at now.
Right, exactly. And I totally agree with you, because when I first started being a single mom, I was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And through the years, I was a mess, but that mess started getting better and better and better and better, because I started working on me. And the more I work on me, the more I show them how to appreciate themselves. But some of the damage is already there, because we were damaged, and we passed that on. So in that part where you're talking about guilt, you know, free from guilt or whatever it is, without guilt, I would say, if you are listening and you are a single mom, you can't fix the past. We are not trying to make you feel guilty here, because there's no way that you can fix your past, that you can fix right now in order for you to see something better tomorrow. Is that correct, Alicia?
Completely correct. And it reminds me of a quote that I've heard more recently, and I wish I would have heard this a long time ago, because it would have, again, helped that guilt. With that guilt, you only know what you know. Like, years ago, I didn't know that I should be doing X, Y, and Z. So how am I going to do that if I don't know? Yeah. So you can't beat yourself up for doing or not doing things that you had no idea you should be doing.
But you can beat yourself up for keep doing the stupid things that you know that you're doing. Okay.
That is true. Yeah. So, what to learn?
If you keep doing the same thing you know is wrong, you keep doing it, now you're stupid. Okay. And I love using that word a lot. But, yeah. So now you are. So in that part, if you want to feel guilty, feel guilty. The point is, just change it, because you're not going to be like, I did that wrong, I did this, and then you're doing it again, and you're doing it again, and you're doing it again. You're not doing anything to make it better. So that's when I tell people, you're stupid, because you got to do some kind of change in order for something to change, right?
Yep. And in doing that, it shows your kids that one of the probably most powerful stories that I've shared, and it's helped me to acknowledge, because becoming a single mom was like the scariest, hardest, craziest, intense thing I've ever been through in my life. Prior to that, I had not lived on my own. So now I'm like going and living on my own with, you know, 2 kids, no idea what I'm doing. But the marriage that I was in was toxic. It was abusive. It was not healthy. Fast forward to my oldest daughter being 16, I think, roughly about that. She'd been dating this boy for 6 months or so. And like, things started out great, as many relationships do, but then things started to shift, and not in a good way. And she came to me a few times talking to me about it. And there's 2 things that I learned from this. One, like, she would ask me, what should I do? And I wouldn't tell her what to do. And I know other people would probably be like, well, why not? Why not tell him? Because if she's not ready, she's not going to do it. That's so right. My job was to help her get to, you know, the best like conclusion through, you know, asking her questions and helping her to realize certain things. And it ended up being because I had left her dad years before that. And she was starting to see traits in him that she sees in her dad, who is not a healthy relationship for her or for myself. She made the decision on her own at 16 to leave that relationship and not continue that cycle.
Great job, Mom. Good job.
And so
And if you want to
though-
cry, because this is the moment to cry. I am so proud of you and her.
So I say this to any single mom out there who's feeling bad, feeling guilty because they don't have another parent in their life.
Mm-hmm.
It is way more important for them to have one healthy relationship with you than to be in a household with a toxic relationship where then they see that's okay. By staying in that, you're telling your kids that's okay. By leaving, you're telling them that's not okay.
Yeah.
Your actions, you're telling them that is not okay. It is not okay to be treated that way.
I completely agree with you. And I know some of you ladies that are listening might feel you are wrong. You are trying to cause a divorce. Look, eventually you're going to get divorced anyway if you don't get killed. Eventually your kids are going to be destroyed if you don't do something about it. Eventually something bad is going to happen. You want to celebrate 60 years of marriage with one missing eye, missing bodies, damage. Look, I am not joking about this. I know I joke about everything, but I see in that. I see in a woman that was celebrating so many years of marriage when I thought that she was born that way. Her husband messed up her eye with a punch, so she lost her eye. She was broken inside. She had broken bones. And there come all the kids celebrating so many years of the golden marriage, blah, 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 blah. And all her boys beat up on their wife, and all her daughters are getting abused by their husband. Is this the celebration that you want to have? 50 years, 60 years of marriage when your family is experiencing the same thing that you are experiencing? Like, wake up. That's why I said that's pretty stupid. You're trying to have the world applaud you because you've been married for so long, but you haven't been married. You have been in hell, right? Ugh. I am telling you.
And you talk about, and I was fortunate in some aspects that it was never physically abusive, but that's also almost harder because if they're to everybody around you, if they don't see the physical signs, they don't believe you.
They don't believe you.
But I feel like, and since I've not been dealt with the physical, I can't for sure, but from my perspective, I feel like the emotional and mental is far harder to heal for yourself and for your kids.
That is always the worst one, because the other one, you always have an excuse, especially women. They have this excuse of they make them angry, they did this. But when someone is verbally abusing you, emotionally abusing you, this is something that you're going to sleep with all your life. Nobody can see it. Nobody can help you, right? So women that get beat up and all that, somebody can say, hey, you can come to my house. Well, we can help you. But someone that is getting destroyed emotionally and mentally, when they say, you stupid, you know good, nobody's going to pick you up after me. I was the best thing that happened to you. You know why I know this thing? Not because it happened to me, but because I speak to women, because I see in women. My mom was one of those women. My aunt was one of those women. I have seen it happen, ladies. So don't think that it's going to get any better. As long as you are mentally destroyed, that's where the depression comes in. That's where the alcoholism come in. That's where all of those things come in, right?
Yep. And again, you teach your kids that that's okay.
Yeah. So I didn't have the same experience as a single mom, because I come from a single mom, which I did not know that my mom was married all the time, but she was a single mom. Duh! Like some of these people, they say I'm married or whatever. Since I was born, my mom was a single mom.
Wow.
Because I never used to see my dad around or anything. I find out that my mom was married when I was 30 something years old. I thought all the time that they wasn't together, but she was still married. I was like, oh my goodness. I was with a married woman who was living as a single mom. So to me, being a single mom was not a big deal. I was like, I can be a single mom. It was hard, but because of what I saw lots of, I come from Panama. I saw lots of married women getting abused. and smiling while they were getting abused. Physically, some mentally, some the man will come to they will only give them money to buy food exactly. And when they had to buy clothes, they will buy them the clothes. Ladies, if you are living in that kind of situation, think about it, just like what Alicia said. Is that what you want for your kids? Nobody's telling you go get a divorce and all that kind of stuff, because most of you never use your head to be able to prepare yourself for educations and all of that kind of stuff. So now you're afraid to run, because if you run, you have nothing. Let me tell you, right now, you have nothing. Because if you are in a relationship where he have everything, you have nothing, right?
Yep. And all of this, I mean, when I started out talking about, prioritizing yourself, this is kind of the epitome of prioritizing yourself and recognizing that in order for you to give your best, do your best for your kids, you have to take care of you. Mm-hmm. And so not feeling guilty about it, because what you are doing is actually for your kids too. It's not just for you. Often it's seen of, well, you're taking care of you, you're neglecting your kids. No, by taking care of you, you are taking care of your kids. In fact, taking better care of your kids, because you're showing them that it's important to take care of you and them.
Yes, I agree.
That whole, airline speech of putting on your oxygen mask first as an adult, like that. I mean, yep. That's probably one of the biggest, tangible examples that we need to do in every aspect of our life as a mom.
Yep.
I once shared I got a lot of hate for this, because I said something about not putting your kids first. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I don't mean you're neglecting your kids. What I mean is you need to take care of you first in order to be able to give to them. Because if you're a hot mess and sick, and you can't give them your best.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. And I will not give you heat for that. I would actually applaud you for that. Okay. Because and for some of you that don't understand what she just said, especially in Latin America, because I come from Latin America, a lot of women put their kids first. And that's the reason why when those kids leave, they are hanging on a thin thread that breaks, because they don't even know who they are. Mm-hmm. They put their kids first because they're not able to take care of themselves. They destroy their kids. They destroy themselves. They destroy their relationship, because they put their kids first. And when she's saying it, she's not saying like some women do when we use this conversation of don't put your kids first. Some women are plainly selfish and abusive. That is just a given. Okay, yeah. That's not what we are talking about here. We are not talking about that you sit on the table and you eat first, and when you finish eating, you make your kids eat. That is not what Alicia is saying. So if you're thinking like that, you're stupid again. Okay, this is not what we are talking about. We are talking about just this example she just gave you. But if you are swimming and you are drowning, you cannot save your kid. You have to first take a breath to be able to get out of the water and be able to find a rope or pull them, do whatever you're going to take. But if you can't breathe, you can't help anybody to breathe. That is the reality. That's the reason why they use that same scenario for the airplane, because if you are drowning, and if with the situation that you are in, you are drowning. So you have to save yourself. And we are not telling you to run away and leave your kids behind. We are saying, find a way to save yourself so that your kids can see, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm. And then they end up doing those things. My oldest daughter that I was telling you about, that left the abusive boyfriend just recently, she's going to be 22 next month. she's been having some relationship problems over the last like year. Like not bad, but they're young and communication is hard at that
That's
age.
normal. Yeah.
And so they've been kind of on this, like, working on things individually because she's seen what I've done, because of the work that I've done. She has on her own invested in personal development books to work on herself, to work on
That's the best.
Loving herself first. Like, had I not done any of that work, she would not be doing that now.
Yep. Taking care of herself. Yep.
And we again, like you were talking about, we think that we have to put them first, but that just teaches them putting everybody else first.
That's the magic one. Repeat that again. You got to repeat that again.
By teaching them to put yourself first, they will then be putting themselves first, not everybody else. And that's a
right.
lifelong lesson that we all need.
Yeah. And that is really most cultures, that is the way that is done. I'm not going to say the country, but I actually have a student that every time I give her a compliment or something like that and tell her how amazing she is and she feels so good, so special, all the kind of stuff. And at the beginning, it was a little uncomfortable for her, but now she take it because she's just like, I never get that from my family. And she goes, oh, my husband doesn't tell me stuff like that. Oh, my kids doesn't tell me stuff like that. You know why? It's not their fault. It's her fault because she doesn't show them that she needs to be respected and appreciated and all that kind of stuff because she's always been their slave. So they treat her like a slave.
Yeah. A quote I actually heard just earlier today. You can't change what you refuse to confront. So in a situation like that, she's not improving because she's not acknowledging that this is my fault. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not completely your fault, you have a part to play in that situation. But until you're like, hey, I was at least partly at cause, if not, I can do something to change it for myself and for my kids.
Now, I am going to disagree with you on that one. And partly, you are fully at fault because it's your decision. You can't change people.
True.
You can only change yourself. So if she doesn't fix it, it's going to keep going. But before she fixes it, just like what you said, she had to acknowledge that there is a problem. It's my fault. Okay, because people don't want to take full responsibility for their life. Therefore, your life is not going to change. If you say, look, with my ex-husband, he cheated on me, right? Whatever that he did is on him. He needs to take that part. But on me, it was my responsibility. I was at fault. Okay, whatever he wanted to do, I'm not making an excuse for him, but I was at fault because guess what? When I said, I'm at fault for this and this and this and this and this, I was able to change it. But I'm not going to say, well, he was at fault and I was at fault. Well, he was at fault. Oh, no. If I'm going to blame somebody, it's either going to be you or it's going to be me. But there's no splitting stuff here. Otherwise, there's no responsibility. When someone does something to me, I'm clear about they did it or I did it. Not we both at fault or whatever. No. Just take it and run with it so that you can grow from it, right? Yeah. So, woman, if you are in a relationship and he is mistreating you, it's your fault. Because let me tell you why. You might not like what I'm saying, but it's just reality. Because you are allowing it. Oh, but you don't understand. You are allowing it. At the beginning, he was supposed to be romantic, and he was like, oh, everybody's like, oh my God, I wish I got him. Oh my God. And now, guess what? Because abusive people, they started as romantic.
Yeah.
They started as buying you a flowers, then buying you a panty, then buying you an outfit, then buying you, and now you are up for sale because they just purchased you. Now you don't call yourself a prostitute, but another way, you are a prostitute because they are doing whatever they want with you. So you got to take responsibility. I spoke to a lady in Africa. The same thing. You cannot start something bad and expect it to go good. It just doesn't happen. So you have to take responsibility so that you don't repeat it.
No, I like that. And that's definitely a controversial thing, because they're like, well, it's not my fault he's doing this. It's your fault you're still there.
Yes.
By you not doing anything, you are telling him it's okay.
Yep. I completely agree with you. And we are not trying to, like we said in the conversation, we're not trying to make you feel guilty. We are trying to empower you to be guilt-free.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make your own decisions. And we are not, there's a big difference between being aggressive and being assertive. I have been both. And I can be both from time to time.
Same.
However, telling somebody, no, 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 no. A lot of women, I've seen them in abusive relationship and they talk back in front of people and that's aggression. That is not going to lead to anything but a punch in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Or worse.
Assertive mean analyzing the pros and the cons. What is it that you're going to do? All the strategies of how you're going to get out of that relationship, and not say, I am going to leave you. Ah! What is that going to do? You say it every year, you say the same thing. That is aggression. Being assertive is thinking before you talk, because there will be consequences. Because I see that all the time. All the time I see women talk big, and that's why you don't get help, because in front of people, you're talking big, and when nobody's watching, you know, and I'm not laughing at you, I'm telling you, I've seen it in my mom, I've seen it in friends, I've seen it in different people, and it doesn't make sense because everybody knows them as rude and aggressive, and she's a manipulator, and she's this and she's that, and you are not, but you're trying to come up strong when you're not even working on being strong, and you're hurting your children because your children are learning from that.
Yep. If like when I think about it, like there's more guilt in like staying and not doing anything than like doing something to change for a positive. Like,
yeah.
That's empowering. That's not guilt. Taking care of you. Like, that's not something to be guilty about.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And think about it. If you don't want to feel bad about taking care of you, make sure that you teach your kids. I always used to tell my kids, I love me more than I love you. I'm going to take care of me so that I can take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I did those things. And some people might call it selfish and all that kind of stuff. You call it selfish. I am. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Because how can you protect something if you can't even protect yourself?
Yep.
I was able to protect my kids from a lot of things. I remember one of the guys I dated, I'm not going to say specifically who, but one of the guys I dated always told men from the beginning, if you ever put your hand on me, you're dead. It's not going to work out, right? If you ever, he tried to punch me and he threw and I ducked and he punched the wall, right? I broke up with him. And then he said, no, I love you. You make me mad and all the kind of stuff. And I said, you just woke me up. Mm-hmm. You just said, I made you mad. So you are saying that I have control over you. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's something wrong there. So you know what? I broke it off. And guess what? It did not feel bad. It was sad for a moment, but it did not feel bad. But if I allow that, it would have been worse, because they're always going to come with excuses. Everybody have a trauma. Don't get me wrong. You can say, oh, because he's like this, because he's like that. I have a trauma too. Everybody have some kind of trauma. Why? Because we don't have perfect parents. Don't matter if they were married or divorced or whatever. Our parents are not perfect. And you cannot take somebody's trauma and think that you're going to fix them, like most of you women think you're going to fix the man that you're with. You got to fix yourself before you can teach somebody else, because you can fix grown people. You can teach them through examples. You can give them advice, just like Alicia's doing. Now she coaches women. She can tell them what to do. If she tells them what to do, they're stupid. She can advise them. This is my experience, and they can learn from her advice and make their own option. They can't come back because she says something that didn't work out. Then they come back and say, Alicia, you were wrong. I am going to sue you. I am going to whatever. That's stupid. Okay? That's exactly what we are telling you right now. Look at the big picture. Look at what is happening in your life. Especially, I mean, even if you're not married anymore, even if you're not in a relationship, even as a single mom, whatever you were doing before, if you didn't fix it, you might be doing the same thing now. Right?
Yep.
Fix it.
Yep.
I am pausing. You know I can talk forever. I'm pausing for you and I'm talking. I am going to keep taking over here. It is. This is supposed to be your interview. I'm giving you a lot of time for you to take, and you are not running with us. So it is on you.
No. Sometimes, because there's so much, it's like, okay, where do we go?
Go. We don't have 3 hours. You need to tell us what is it that you are supposed to be telling us. Okay. So let's go ahead and help us find out, the single mom that are listening. How do you shift your mindset?
It's little by little. This is not shifting your mindset is not one. It is not going to happen overnight. Like it's not like I talk about it like it's easy, but it has taken me 15 years to get to where I'm at today. Granted, like part of what I do now is to help women like not take 15 years, because it doesn't have to. But it's looking at what are my actions doing? What is, by me doing this, not doing this, what is it doing? What do I want it to do? So if you're, say, doing things always for your kids, not for you, and you're feeling like crap, well, that's not can't do that. And so looking at it from the longer term aspect of things, because in the short term, it seems like, yes, this is the right thing to do. In the long term, it's not. And so over time, reflecting on what you're doing, because in the moment, it's harder as we're learning.
So give us an example of why it look good now and why it doesn't look good in the future.
So I'll actually use an example that's another single mom shared recently, of feeling, bad because she's not taking time to spend with her kid right now, but she needs a break. Like in that moment, it seems like, yes, I should play with my kid, because if I don't, then they're going to be upset. They're going to be this, like I can rest later. In the long term, there's two things that is actually doing that's not positive. One, you're not taking care of you, so you're going to feel worse later. Two, you're teaching your kids that I'm just going to ignore how I feel, and you're going to always get what you want. We don't always get what we want in life. And so in those moments, while you're going to feel guilty for saying no, because kids don't like that word, it's a teaching moment for both of you to acknowledge that you need to take care of you. And through those, teaching your kids that same thing, because they're going to take what you're doing into their adulthood. And that's where looking at the long term what you're doing now is teaching them lifelong lessons. You're not just teaching them how to be a kid. Some of our most impactful, well, no, most of our most impactful lessons that we learn are before the age of 7. So if we're teaching our kids that I'm gonna always do something for you and never take care of me, that's what they learn is okay, and that's what they do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's for sure. And that's where the balance, that's what everything that we do, we need to find that balance. Because and I'm toning down my voice, because when we are talking about taking care of yourself, I want to clarify, we're not talking about you becoming overly selfish. That's not what we are talking about. Because when you're caring for you, you want other people to feel the same way. If you feel good about yourself, you want them to feel good. If you feel proud, if you are excited about something, you want other people to experience that. That's the reason why that works out that way, because we want to give people what we have. But if you have nothing, how can you give something that you don't have? If you are feeling like nothing, guess what? You are making your kids feel like nothing. You think about bullies because they have nothing. They bullies because they feel empty and they're trying to find a purpose in destroying somebody's life. Most of the kids that come from relationships, whatever, either they become the animal of the bully or they become a bully, okay? Because there is something missing and they're trying to compensate, or the other one don't have the strength enough to stand up to the bully because you did not teach them to stand up for anything. So there is a lot of damage that you are causing if you don't take care of yourself. When you take care of yourself, you will be taking care of your kids. We're not saying take a period of time, 3 months for me, 1 month for you. That's not what we are saying here. We are not saying be stupid. We are saying be wise. Okay, that is what Alicia is trying to say right here. Is if you look, when you're cooking, who tastes the food first if you're cooking?
It's you. It's not.
Guess what? That's how you know if the food is good. If you may put too much salt, or by some reason somebody drops soap in your food and you taste it, it's like, ugh. Guess what? The same thing happened. When you taste it first, you prevent your kids from going through that experience. You prevent kids from the damage that it's going to cause. That's why you taste the food first when you are cooking. The chef takes the food first. Can't go and have somebody eat the food and say, oh, I didn't taste it, I'm sorry. Ha, that's stupid. Okay, so if you actually use this example of, if you ever cook, if you don't know how to cook, you cannot understand this analogy, okay? But the reality is when I cook, I always my food, okay? Always. And I keep eating it out and eating it out. And I'm like, ooh, this is good. So by the time somebody else tastes it, I'm not trying to get their feedback as if it's good or not. I know it's good. If you don't like it, that's your issue. But I know it's good because I taste it. As a single mom, as a parent, as a mom, even if you are married, you have to taste it first. Okay, right?
I love that. Yeah.
That just came to my head. That was the Holy Spirit.
That's wonderful. I love it.
I have never thought about that ever before, but it just came to my head because okay, that's pretty good. Thank you, God. Thank you for that example. I know I have a messy mouth and all that kind of stuff. I know. Forgive me. But yeah, that is like, we do that. Do you cook?
I do.
And do you eat your food first before you give it to everybody else?
I do. And it allows you, then you can fix what it needs before you're giving it to somebody else.
Go. So now you got my permission to be able to coach and use that for everybody.
Some people need different analogies because they've heard, the
that's what I'm saying
a million times. That's
what I'm, but especially when it comes to moms. I mean, I wouldn't say every mom cook, but if they do, what part of not understanding that is it is? You're not being selfish. You're still feeding them, but you're tasting it before you feed them. Otherwise, you're going to poison them if you don't feed it. Ooh, there you go. So don't poison your kids. Taste the food first.
Taste it, fix it, then give it to your kids. Okay.
Okay, so I am going to give you 1 to 2 minutes for you to think of the most amazing thing to say, because this is the video that I'm going to put on Instagram. Okay, it's going to be 60 seconds. Under a minute, it's 59 seconds. So whatever is it that you know that is going to stay there and it's going to stay for long and it's going to be shared with people, now is your moment. I usually don't tell people that I'm going to do that. I just have them pick a part of. But because I believe that this conversation, don't use the word relationship, because Instagram don't like the word relationship. They are doing some kind of promotion, whatever. So they don't like the word relationship. Don't use COVID. Don't use videos. Don't use like stuff like that, right? In your conversation. Whatever it is, just use whatever. So you have 59 seconds. Go.
As a single mom, as a mom, you're not in this life just to take care of your kids. You are in this life for you. And you have one life here to make an impact on yourself and your kids. And you only have now. You can only control the now by waiting. You are putting these changes off until a time that may never come. So by you saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll work on it later, you are telling the world, okay, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't, because that tomorrow might not come. And then your kids might not get that lesson that they needed to be successful in life. So they're going to be left with whatever damage there was prior to that, instead of that lesson that they really, really needed from you.
Okay. So how did they shift their mindset?
So then you are looking at what is the long-term plan that you want for your kids? What do you want them to live? How do you want them to live their life later? If you want them to be living happy, healthy lives, then you need to show that in your actions, not in your words. So making choices that are going to, in the long run, teach them those lessons that they need, instead of just making them happy and good in the now.
So when we are moms and we're thinking about making our kids happy, what does that look like?
One, it looks different for everybody, but when I envision happy for kids, it is having, the life that they choose to have. So if your kids, with some exceptions, because there's things in life that are not necessarily tangible, but being healthy, being able to explore new things, to expand their mind, their everything, having, the education that they need to be successful, and then being able to eventually have a career that makes them want to just jump out of bed every day versus dreading another day. Because a lot of us are grown up to just dread and just go and do the thing, but instead instilling in them to live a life that makes you want to get up in the morning versus being, anxious for the weekend when you don't have to work.
Yep. Another thing that I want to remind you, single moms, that making your kids happy is having the ability to tell them no.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to tell them no. It's uncomfortable, but it will make them happy because it would keep them away from hurting in the long run. A lot of you women want to focus on putting a smile Having a smile doesn't mean happy.
No.
Having what you want doesn't mean happy. Because they want chocolate and you give it to them, that doesn't mean happy. That means contentment. That means you just felt a desire, but that's not happiness. So define what happiness really means to you, and then try to fix it. Because a lot of you have a very bad understanding of what happiness is. And that's the reason why you can't teach your kids how to be happy, because you have not discovered what happiness is. Happiness is not an education, because a lot of people have an education and they're very unhappy. How many times in college people are killing themselves because they didn't get the right grade? So that is not happiness. Define happiness. That is something that I used to be stuck on, but that's not happiness. Happiness is not a smile. Sometimes you can be very happy and someone just died. And guess what? You were sad for that person, but you are still happy.
Mhm.
Okay? So I want you guys to think about happiness and what does that look like for you. It looks different for me, just like Alicia said. It looks different for Alicia. It looks different for different people. But if all of those things are taken away from you, how happy are you?
Mhm.
If all you do a list of happiness, if all of that is taken away from you, what are you left with? Because let me tell you, I'm 51 years old. My kids are not at home anymore. Guess what? I'm still happy.
Mhm.
If your kids are the only reason why you are happy, you already screwed.
Yeah, it should never. And this this is where when I talk about having a partner, that partner should not be what makes you happy. You make you happy.
Yeah, they just added value, and I'm not saying it, and I love my husband and he's amazing. But the
Mhm.
reason why my husband is happy with me because I'm happy with him.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm not saying that in a cocky way. Hey, I am not needy. I don't be calling him, what you doing? What you want? Where you at? Oh, you could plan.
Yes.
I am not calling him to do that, And
Mhm.
I know when I was younger, I used to actually do that. I would be like, he didn't call me. He don't love me. You don't
Yeah.
love yourself, because how can you tell somebody they don't love you because they didn't call you? Like my son and I, we are not talking right now. Like we are not talking. And I love him, and I'm happy for all the things that happen with him and all the kind of stuff, because we do go through that transition. They grow up, they think they know everything and all that. And guess
Yeah.
what? It's okay. I am still happy because I know that it's okay. In life, sometimes things have to happen for us to grow. Sometimes you have to let them go so that they grow.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to let things go so that you grow. It doesn't mean that you're not happy. It doesn't mean that they're disappointing. It doesn't mean that they're hateful because someone, with your ex-husband, whatever it is, he's not a bad person. He was not good for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
My ex-husband, he was not a bad person. On the contrary, he was very loving, but he was not good for me. It lasted the moment it lasted, but some people don't know to look at the alarm when it's saying you need to let him go. You need to let him go. And that's where the things happen, because we needed to let that person go. Otherwise, it become worse. The same thing with your kids. If you grab onto them in a way that suffocates them, you are not making them happy. You are making yourself smile for a little bit. But
Yeah.
eventually, when they get the freedom to let you go, they're going to run as far as they can. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. Please don't let your kids. I used to have dreams about this before I was pregnant with my kid. And I always was ready for the time that they left. Always, because we are here just to instruct them, just to help them build their wings, and then
Yep.
open our hands and let them fly. They can
Mhm.
come around us, they can do all that. But if you are so needy that you need your kid all the way around just for you to feel good, guess what? They need someone to be happy with them, to enjoy their own happiness. And that person is not going to be you.
Yeah.
So start getting that in your mind now, because you need to let go. But you can't let go of something if you're not even allowing yourself to be you. That is the hard part, is
Mhm.
allowing you to be you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the big things that I teach and emphasize is being you, not just a mom, because yes, you're always going to be a mom, but you're also always going to be you. And you need
That's
to
right.
know and love and be happy with you in order for everything else to be, to enjoy everything else
Right.
in a healthy manner.
Yeah. I totally agree. So what are some of the things, just to close, what are some of the things that you do? Um, not that question. Let me rephrase that again. What is the reaction that your kids are getting with the new you?
They, I have gotten um, a lot of phrases of "I'm proud of you." Um, oh, I've gotten my my youngest did a bunch of essays for college, and a lot of what was shared in there was complimenting my growth and my strength and teaching them those things, and they're acknowledging that what I have done is not only improving me, but it's helped them to be better people and better prepared for life. They have both been ready, more or less, to like move out and be on their own. They don't feel as scared and like nervous because we've kind of gone through this growth together. And they've seen, through me taking care of themselves, they acknowledge that they need to take care of them. That's probably the biggest lesson that they've got out of this, is me taking care of them. Me taking care of me shows them that it's not only good to take care of themselves, but they need to take care of themselves first.
Yeah, because you're not going to be there forever.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And um, I know that we are closing, and I don't like sad stories, but I have to tell a sad story. And I know I said it before, but it's called for this one. There is a girl that I know, and I knew her mom, and she has been abused in a relationship, and she's holding on to that relationship. Her mom always put her kids first, so much to the point of putting them first, she didn't allow them to be around other people, because she said other people was going to hurt them, because she got hurt by her family. So she protected her kids to the point that she put them first, and she worked all the time. They live in a good neighborhood. She worked, and she died of cancer. When she died of cancer, she never taught them how to take care of themselves, because she never took care of herself. She always sacrificed everything for them. I remember just hearing through conversation, they would be like, Mom, you didn't get me this. Mom, you didn't get me that. Mom, you didn't get me that. She says, I'm going to do some overtime so that I can get you this. I'm going to do this so that I can get you this. And this I'm talking about, this was a single mom. She came from an abusive relationship. She left him, but she didn't change the pattern. She died, and her daughter picked up that pattern of abuse. No, she can't help her daughter. And now who is the daughter's going to get help from? Eventually, hopefully, she will wake up and realize I am damaged,
Mm-hmm.
and mom can't help me. And why am I telling you this story? Is because we are not trying to tell you, have a huge ego, be selfish, leave your kids behind. We are trying to tell you they are watching you. They are doing everything that you are doing. And you have to find a balance between taking care of you and taking care of them but you have to take care of you, because not taking care of you is not taking care of them, and you're causing a bigger damage. So right now, I have no idea what that girl is. I saw her at the grocery store the last time, a couple of years ago. That was the last time. And I have no idea. And her brother have autism. So she left a 15-year-old boy with a 21-year-old girl and died on them because she overworked herself. She didn't take care of herself. She got cancer once. She went back to work. She overdid it again. She got cancer again. Then she died. Okay? I'm telling you, moms, don't let that be your story. You can do better. Don't live on guilt. Live without guilt, like the subject of this talk that we are having. You need to live without guilt. But if you are always walking with guilt, how can you teach your kids to live without guilt? You got to free yourself of that. Forgive yourself on all the stupidity that you did. Believe me, this is one person that always doing stupid stuff. Okay? But you got to be able to forgive yourself and move on. You have to be able to let go of certain things, especially hate and all that kind of stuff. If you are not with the baby's dad anymore, if you walk with hate, you're not teaching them anything good either. You need to let that go. You need to let that pain go. You need to let go of all of that. Men are not evil. You allow them to do whatever they want to you. Because, okay? And then you feel guilty because you're sleeping with dogs. Try to start taking care of yourself so that the puppies that you're raising will not continue to date dogs because they realize, I'm not a puppy. Okay? So don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your kids. Don't end up in the hospital like I did end up in the hospital because of all the stress, because of overcompensating, because of trying to prove to the world that I can do stuff. And then you damage your kids anyway. Okay? So I am telling you, ladies, if you actually are listening, don't just listen. Do something about it. Do something about it. Okay? So live without guilt. And this it's going to start with you. Otherwise, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. My son and I are not talking right now, but I have no guilt. I feel nothing because I know that everything that I did was good. This is just relationship stuff now. He's married, all that kind of stuff. That's another story that we will have at another time. That's a different stage of life. Okay. But everything that I did as a single mom, I was his mom's hero. And now I am proud of everything that I did. And if I had to do it all over again, I would do it. Can you say if you had to do it all over again, will you do it all over again? I can say that. You know why? Because I take responsibility for my actions. I learn from my mistakes. And that's the reason why I am what I am now, because I learned from my mistake. Embrace your mistake, take responsibility, and move forward. That's what you have to do. Okay. And this conversation was about without guilt, and it was all about Alicia Johnson. And it became something about Sandra Graves sharing a whole bunch of story. So Alicia, and before we close, tell us where they can follow you to find out more about you and your coaching.
So you can find me on Instagram. It's at I am solo mom strong. And you'll see a lot there. The link in my bio has a variety of coaching offers, free and paid things. That's where you can keep most up to date with what I have out there, either just to follow me or to work with me and to not do this journey alone, because that's one of the hardest things. You don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. And I will be putting her link to Instagram at the bottom of this video. But if you would like to tell your story, if you have something to share with us, please send us an email to info@singlemom.today, info@singlemom.today. And with closing, yes, Alicia, I didn't finish with you yet. No. After you close, I am going to actually close. So can you finish up with some words for them? And then we will close this.
Yeah. take the time today to take care of you so you can take care of your kids. You don't necessarily have tomorrow to do it. Do it today. You're going to have more guilt if you put it off until tomorrow or the next day, and that day never comes.